Hello everybody, welcome or welcome back, and today we are going to build the next section of this island. So if you've seen my previous video, you'll know that the only part we've worked on so far is the entrance, and we can't work on the farm anymore until the trees around it have grown. So today we are going to work on the museum area. The first thing I did is speak to Tom Nook and got the moving kit, and then it was time to begin. So my current idea for this is to have a bridge over a river with waterfalls either side, and that's about the extent of my thought process for this area so far, but I do know that that's what I want. If you're new here, my theme is tropical, but also slightly leaning into abandoned with some broken pillars dotted throughout, kind of keeping some of the original charm of an abandoned island that we've found. So what I started with was just trying to figure out where I might actually want the museum to go so I could start terraforming. On this island, for some reason, I'm really liking the idea of having cliffs behind all of the buildings with waterfalls and trees, so I knew that I needed the cliff behind the museum to be at least 3 wide. I was also thinking that I'd like the museum and the bridges to line up centred, but to kind of lean into the idea of keeping the charm of the island and not having things too uniform, I eventually chose to offset it, and you'll see why when we get to that part. It just looks so much better. Once I had the back of the cliff up, I then just cleared all the trees from the area so I could sort of sit and imagine what I might want to create for a little bit. Now the area's all clear, it's time for the fun to begin, and I just jumped straight in and played around with where I might want the river and the bridge to go. I wanted it further from the original bridge, but also further from the museum, so to make my vision come to life, ideally I'd want this whole area to be a bit longer, but it works out in the end, and I just could not be bothered to move the original river. I put a dirt path one side just so I could move down a little and check the distance and imagine how the bridge might look if it were placed there, and once I was happy I built the cliffs up around it and then dug the river out fully. I moved up to the cliff on the right to add the waterfalls, and I wasn't sure how I wanted these to line up with the river, or if I wanted them to be mirroring each other either side, or if they should be different to match that tropical island vibe, but I did decide this is one thing I can allow to look structured. Once I was happy, I went to the other side to build that up. I also ended up completely getting rid of the pond that was there. I initially wanted to keep it and work it in somehow, as I love using as much of the original map as possible, but decided it was best to remove it, at least for now. So to start with, I'm just getting this cliff and waterfall the exact same as the other side, and then eventually worked a little bigger and shaped it how I wanted it. But when we get to work on the campsite area, I'm sure we'll develop it a little bit more. Just a quick final check to make sure that I'm happy with how it looks, and then I went back to Resident Services to buy the suspension bridge and put that in place. I am using the wooden bridges and inclines for this island, as I want it to feel like we've made everything from the basics that we've found around the place. Now, I did use a Pinterest pin for inspiration on the layout of this part and then changed it up to my own. So I started to place my pathway down, and then I put the moving kit there after a lot of trial and error, just making sure my path lined up with the museum entrance. I am also going to make a Pinterest board for each of my islands with all the inspiration that I used, path codes, etc. The idea was to, of course, just continue the theme and have some waterfalls, cliffs and palm trees around, kind of framing the museum, again feeling like we've added our structures into the natural landscape. Another reason for all of this terraforming at this particular section is that this area will be split into 3, as on the left, on the beach, is the campsite, and I do want it to feel separate yet cohesive at the same time. I also want to apologise when the voiceovers go almost robotic. I have someone in and out of the building next door, and I find it so cringe recording this when someone is listening. To not get behind on my schedule, I can't keep stopping recording when they come in, so I actually have to write a script to read when they come in, or I literally cannot do it. I'm just constantly thinking that someone is listening and I can't focus on actually speaking, and then my mind just goes blank and it all just ends up in a mess, so yeah. Anyway, up on these cliffs, I just wanted some fun terraforming, adding random waterfalls and rivers till it looked cute, and I also put a little stepping stone island type situation down here, just another little sneaky way to get to the campsite. And clearly I'm still getting used to what you can and can't do here, but it is funny to watch at the same time. I made the stepping stone just by connecting all of these waterfalls around and starting to bring back that original pond that was there. We will finalise all of these parts here when we come to decorate this campsite section. But it's looking cute so far. I'm recording all of these voiceovers. It's a bit of a challenge. I may get a second microphone for at home so that I can do the voiceovers whilst I play. It'll be a lot more natural. Some longer playthroughs would be cool as well, but I am not recording a 4 or 5 hour voiceover. I do not have the time for that right now, unfortunately. So I'm actually playing at home on my lounge TV with the Switch recording onto a hard drive via my laptop, which is all like connected. But my big editing and streaming PC is up at my art studio, and this is where I'm editing videos and recording these voiceovers. I may buy a second dock and capture card at some point as well to start doing live streams, which could be pretty fun. I know a lot of people do that. I do stream my art and body painting, but I've never streamed Animal Crossing. I'm just adding some sand pathway where I might want all the coconut trees to go, then realised I had no coconuts on any of my trees, so I quickly visited a treasure island to grab some more, and I grabbed a few other bits on the way as well because it's rude not to. Any treasure island I go to, I make sure to fill my pockets up with anything I might need in the future or anything that might fit the theme. I think I got 12 coconut trees this time. In hindsight, I should have just filled my pockets with those, as I know I'll need them eventually, but yeah, I just grabbed what I needed for now, plus a few more. I do need to go back to that island anyway a few more times, as I know for sure I will need a ton more flowers and shrubs. But yeah, just grabbed what I needed and then headed back to the island to put those around. As always, guys, is it just me who completely is useless with the controls? I swear, I'm always digging in the wrong place or putting things in the wrong place. Please tell me it's not just me. I also tested if I could do the waterfalls along with the trees behind, but the answer was no. I am still getting used to everything, obviously. I don't know what I'm gonna put between those trees yet either. I was thinking the shrubs that I've used everywhere, but I'm not sure you'll see them anyway once the museum's in place. Once the museum's there, I will go back, no doubt, and finish that off. Please leave a comment and let me know what theme you're currently working on, and tell me a little bit about your island. Also, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate you coming by. I know it's a new channel, but subscriptions will mean the absolute world to me, and talking about our islands, I'd love to have you along on this journey. Sorry about that noise, if you can hear that in the background, my puppy has just woken up. I won't have a consistent schedule, but I am going to try to make time to have one good session of play a week at least, so I will try to get one video a week roughly out for you guys. But yeah, if you would like to see more of this progress we make on this island, I really would love it if you were to subscribe and come back for the next one. As I mentioned just now, I may eventually start playing here at the studio, which would also mean I could do a face cam. I know from streaming particularly that people do prefer to see the face behind the voice and the content. And also, if anyone is interested in the puppy I just mentioned, he is a 4-month-old named Wicket, hence my character name. He's a border collie, and my current YouTube thumbnail, that is him. He's named for the Ewok in Star Wars, hence my profile picture's icon is a border collie wearing an Ewok costume. I also have another collie at home called Domino, who is almost 6 years old, and I have 2 cats as well, called Aquila and Beluga. So I just placed some pathing down and a pergola over the top as a bit of a temporary entrance to the campsite. I'll probably change it all later, but I just didn't want that area left empty for the time being. And now we have just time jumped to the next day, and we can now see the museum and the bridge are built in all their glory, so it's now time for decorating. The vision is visioning, I have to say. I'm just taking a quick stroll up here to see what everything looks like and try to think of what I might want to go where. Okay, let's go grab our storage cupboard and move it a little bit closer, just so we don't have to go all that way every time. When I start to work on areas that are a bit further away, I'll probably get a couple of those pipes so that I can easily go back and forth between the area and the beach with the flowers on, which I actually might start moving to the other beach in front of the shop so it's closer to the drop box too. It just kind of makes sense to have everything in one area, or unless I decide to... that the shop area is the next part that we decorate. Oh, who knows, I don't need to think about that yet, do I? Focus, April, come on, focus. Anywho, just grabbed a few bits from storage, anything that I think might look good. I actually put a small palm over the back and planted some bamboo near the front as well, between the bridges. I love using different sized trees as decor and fillers, but I'm not too experienced with how they best look yet, so hopefully this island will help me grow in that area too. I knew that I definitely wanted a pillar somewhere here just to tie in those Lost City vibes. I tried a lot of different placements for it, but eventually settled on having it up on one of the cliffs, at least for now. I really liked it next to the river, but I thought it just covered up the view of the waterfall just a bit too much. I've been thinking that my next island should be a forever island. Getting the island to 3 stars really is such a pain, especially for someone like me with ADHD who gets bored very quickly. I really need to act off of the impulses and those creativity sparks. A lot of the time when I get those ideas, I need to do it immediately or the spark just fizzles out and I just kind of stop. The last island I was working on was like a rainbow island where I had a different section of each colour and it kind of went in a wheel. But yeah, by the time I unlocked terraforming, I was just bored of it. I need to come up with a good name for a forever island, but I do also love the idea of the islands having corresponding names. I really wish you could pay bells to change an island's name so that it wasn't an issue and you could just kind of flatten an island, rebuild, rename, and then, you know, just kind of keep going. It's also probably another reason I've not yet completed an island. I just get bored. Once the spark goes for an island that I'm working on, I can then not be bothered to restart and do the 3-star journey again, which usually results in me not even touching my Switch for a couple of months. It's almost like a burnout with it. I need to continuously create rather than having to do the repetitive grind to unlock terraforming each time. It really drags me down with it. Anyway, enough negative Nelly, let's put her to bed for the time being. I do adore this game. You can create so many things with it, and another thing that I love doing is visiting Dream Islands through Luna, so I might do videos in the future where we go to and explore some Dream Islands. There are so many different things you can do with your islands, and it's also so good for inspiration. I'm not yet deciding what I want my next island to be. I'm trying to not even think about it, to be honest. That's when the issues arrive and I want to start my next idea. I'm trying to just focus on the now and enjoy the process of building this island, because I do really want to get this one to completion, which is, if you watched my intro channel, that's great English, my channel intro video, and like the before tour of this island, you'll know that that's something that I have never done before. And it's also the main reason I wanted to start this channel in the first place, to kind of hold myself accountable and get some islands finished. So I think for now I've got the main furniture items placed, so let's just go down to the beach to collect some flowers. As I mentioned, I am going to start getting low on them soon, so we'll take a couple of Treasure Island trips at some point to restock. So I've got a lot of red, yellow and orange lilies, and then I've got some orange and pink tulips, some white flowers and pink cosmos as well, and then the occasional purple and blue popping up. I've got some others here, but they're not the main ones that I'm using, just a few extra random ones just to sprinkle about the place. Let's head back to the museum area and just start placing them around. So I don't like to place two of the same colour next to each other. I want it to seem random but without being too messy, I suppose. I don't know, I also have some glowing moss scattered around with some weeds, but I do want some more weeds. I might have to do a trip to a mystery island at some point. Unless one of my next treasure islands has clumps of weeds, I will grab some then. You can see just on the right there is a stepping stone island, so I think that area may become some sort of tropical marsh area with lots of little islands and rivers and just decorated to the max, unless we decide what else to do with it. I've currently got some bamboo growing there, so that when I need some bamboo trees I can just go grab one. But yeah, we're looking cute. Now this edge of the bridge I didn't know how to decorate and it was such a pain in the butt. I tried various arches and ideas, but I ended up just taking the bank out a bit more so I could put a sign there. I did have a custom design somewhere for a museum sign, but for now I just put the water me one there. I will change that soon to the museum one. I really liked the crackstone arch there though, but that's as close as it would go, which is annoying. And then we just placed some more flowers around, and yeah, I swear these banks will be the death of me. I think the main floor is pretty much on its way, so I headed up to the cliffs to start decorating those. I want a few of these pirate treasure chests. Oh my god. Pirate treasure. Wow. Pirate treasure chests. We got there in the end. Around the island, going with the Lost City touches. Oh my, I swear I can't speak today. I hid one up here and actually dropped a gold nugget next to it, which I then discovered was another little thing I could drop here and there as some decoration. I'm so sorry. Honestly, I'd like to think these voiceovers will get better the more videos we make. I'm just not used to doing this, but yeah, I make no promises. Another reason it might be good to do the voice recordings whilst I actually play. It would just seem more natural, but yeah, I'm trying, I swear. I might change that yellow lily at some point. It is looking very yellow and gold up there. I just climbed back up and hopped over here. I like to have a little custom design on all of my stepping stones and stepping islands. I'm not sold on this custom design for that purpose for this theme, but I'm making do with what I have right now. I'm sure I'll find a better one at some point. Next island, again, just placing what I think might look cute, and I actually started using some fencing on this one as well, which I think works really well. This fence also matches the bridges and inclines that I'm using for this island, so it all ties really well together. that could look cute. I could potentially put this fencing between the row of trees too. One item I haven't used in this area is the garden wagon, and I really wish I could put one somewhere, but right now it just won't fit. I think once the entire oh my lord, yep, words, English is hard. I think once the entire island is done, I'll probably come back and go through changing bits, so I could potentially add one then, but I could add one to the entrance of the campsite also. I think they're just so colourful and pretty. I really want them included in this island. I wanted this flower bed at the front, so I'm just climbing back up, pushing it forward, and then continuing. Yeah, that slots in really nicely there. Okay, let's get the fencing out and whack those bad boys down. Those flower beds just make really nice fillers just anywhere I don't know what to put. I'll usually grab moss, weeds, flowers, or a choice of 1 or 2 items on each island, and for this island I think it'll probably be the flower beds or this fencing here. I'm enjoying trying to decorate these really small areas. I know I'll get better at it over time. They're kind of basic right now. Let's run back through and see the work that we've done today. Guys, I'm so happy with how it looks and what we've done. As I keep saying, I'll probably change bits as I progress the island and come back at the end for a final tweak. It is mainly just flowers right now. I would like to incorporate some more items, but yeah, I'm sure as I travel to more treasure islands, I'll see more items that spark inspiration, and also as we get further into the build, we'll come up with new ideas together too. Oh god, and here, okay, so I've never used the camera feature before, and I literally spent like 20 minutes fiddling with the controls and stuff, and oh god, yeah, I definitely need to practice more with this too. It's so cringe, but I guess cringe is content, so I left it in. I don't know what the next video will be. Realistically, it should be the campsite area up here, just so that this whole section is done, but I'm not sure what I want to do with the beaches just yet, to be honest. I could do the veg farm, but again, I'm waiting for those trees around them to grow taller. Maybe the next part that makes sense is continuing the entrance, sort of into the shopping area. I'm really not sure, but guys, thank you so much if you've stuck around to the end. I really appreciate it. Let me know what island or theme you're currently working on. I really would love to know what everybody is creating.